East Carolina at number 2 Michigan, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Man, to be a West Coaster, 9 a.m. football. Love that. That's my number 2 versus East Carolina. Now, the reason this game is interesting is because Jim Harbaugh is serving a self-imposed suspension of 3 games related to NCAA violations. We've talked about what those violations are on the show before. I will not bore you with them today. All I will say is that it is unorthodox for Jim Harbaugh. Well, I should say, we see Jim Harbaugh as unorthodox. It is regular for Jim Harbaugh to make like he did, which is to put 3 different assistants as acting head coaches for 3 different games. So Saturday, defense coordinator Jesse Minter will be the acting head coach against East Carolina. I find this interesting because I can't recall any head coach who's also called the defense. We know lots of head coaches who call the offense, but that also speaks to just what athletic directors are looking for when they're trying to sell this to boosters. But Jesse Minter has done more than enough to distinguish himself as one of the better coordinators, regardless of which side of the ball in the sport. And I think this is a great, not just job opportunity for him, but kudos to Jim Harbaugh, who is trying to develop his assistants in a meaningful way. Like, you go to work, one of the things that you want from your manager is opportunities to learn how to do your job better and learn how to do the job in front of you, right? That's called professional development. And I think this is peak professional development for Jim Harbaugh, allowing Jesse Minter to run this game against East Carolina. To fill this out, we're going to see Jay Harbaugh, not Jack's dad, Jay Harbaugh, special teams coordinator, also be an acting head coach against UNLV. And then we'll see Sharon Moore as acting head coach against Bowling Green. But we will not see Sharon Moore against East Carolina on Saturday because he will be serving a self-imposed 1-game suspension. Now, this is interesting to me because it's not just Jesse Minter on the headset and on the defense play call sheets. It is Kurt Campbell, quarterback's coach at Michigan, who's going to be calling the offense. So you also have another professional development opportunity, but you're going to have guys that are not used to being in these positions, and they're not going to have the head coach and, well, the architect of the 2-time Joe Moore award-winning offensive line pull on during the game. I don't think this is going to matter in as far as the score, but I do think it's going to matter in as far as what we believe about Michigan. Because the thing that I've learned about that program, if I don't learn about any other, is it doesn't much matter who the coaches are because the players believe in Jim Harbaugh and they believe in themselves. Harbaugh can do what Saban can do. He can turn out the coordinators if he wants to because he's done that, and he'll bring in new ones. But we're also looking at a third different play caller at Michigan the last 2 years, and all I've done is go 25-3 up until then. I mean, remember, Matt Weiss, Sharon Moore, right? Pick one if you want. And then Sharon Moore to Kirk Campbell. Hasn't much mattered because J.J. McCarthy's been that good. Blake Corum's been that good. Donovan Edwards has been that good. And that offensive line might, once again, be the best damn offensive line in the sport. They go 7 deep in one class. Jim Nagy said it on this show. It would not shock him to see all 7 guys get drafted in 2024. And he, who's been doing his job as an NFL scout for 20 years, has never seen something like that. Also, dude that, not only was around Tom Brady at Michigan, was around Tom Brady at New England. He understands what offensive line play is supposed to look like. I also think Michigan is in a very cool position right now because it's not just coming off of 2 back-to-back Big Ten championships, also absolutely sticking your finger in my eye last year, but you give the Big Ten its best opportunity to win a national title in 20 years. Think about that. We got to go back to 2002 Ohio State. That's how long it's been since this proud conference has won it. We got to go back to 2014 since the last time that this proud conference has won a national championship. So I'm looking at this and I'm going, the Big Ten is pretty much leaning on Michigan or Ohio State as they have been. But then you got a Penn State who's lurking. We feel good about Minnesota, who's won the 3rd most games of anybody in that conference other than Ohio State and Michigan. And this is a prove it year, right? Because Oklahoma and Texas are going to join the SEC. Alabama has turned over its coordinators, and many people don't believe that they're going to win the SEC championship. Georgia seems to be the dominant team, not just in the sport, but in that conference. And then it's kind of a shakeup. Now, are we going to see Ohio State and Michigan back in the playoff again? It's highly unlikely. But since it happened once, it could happen again, right? And depending on what you see out of Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Penn State, we could be looking at a very strong Big Ten once again. That's before I start talking about what the bottom might look like. Like Maryland is a middling team. I remember nobody cared about what Maryland was doing. Now you better watch your back because Mike Loxley's team might jump up, be 5-0 by the time they get into the thick of their Big Ten play. Thank you for watching the #1 college football show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.